TSM got swept by C9 3-0 in the Gauntlet, and for the first time in League of Legends history, they're going to be missing Worlds. Let's go over TSM's year as a whole and try to figure out how a roster filled with so many talented players, backed by an org with such a decorated history of success, failed so miserably. So, how did this roster come about? After failing to make it out of groups again, TSM kicked Doublelift, Biofrost, and Svenskeren from their roster. They replaced their bot lane with Zven and Mitty from G2, and they eventually replaced jungle with Mike Young, but he got swapped out for Grigney. So, what are the problems with this roster? They have no identity whatsoever. They try to make a lot of styles work during the year, and they really couldn't figure out a style, so they just don't have an identity, especially early game. They're very weak. Also, since this is a roster filled with so many veterans, Grigney and Mike Young are very new, and they never had a voice in the jungle. Their junglers were just pretty much non-existent a lot of the times. So, it's still a roster filled with many strong players, so they have some strengths. They're an extremely strong late game team fighting team. Bjergsen and Zven, the Danish duo, are very good players, and they're excellent carry players. Their team fighting is impeccable. Also, as I said, they have so many veteran players, so their macro when it gets to mid and late game is especially good. Also, Bjergsen still is one of the best mid players in NA, and when he's given assassin or carry champions, the team tends to shine a lot more. They got to this spot in Gauntlet by beating weaker teams by dragging the games out to mid and late game and overpowering them. So versus C9, that should have been their game plan, to beat them in mid and late game with better team fighting. But it didn't exactly pan out. Let's go over the games and see what happened. In game 1, the bans are actually very much expected. Both teams are just banning out the enemy team's best champions. Bjergsen's Irelia, Bjergsen's Akali. For TSM, they're banning out Zillion and Kindred, something Jensen and Blabber has had a lot of success on. Now, let's move on to the picks. C9 opens with the first pick, Camille. Camille's actually a very flexible pick. It can combo into Camille Galio, it can be flexed both top and jungle. TSM responds with Varus Tahm Kench. I actually love this from TSM. Kench is one of Mitty's best champions, and I personally believe Varus to be one of the strongest ADs in the meta. Also, Kench plays very well versus Camille, being able to eat out whoever she ults. But this Argot pick from TSM is where things get really wary. Traditionally, TSM has done so much better when Haunter is on a straight up tank and when Bjergsen's on a carry, so I really don't like this Argot pick from TSM. While Urgot's been showing up in international tournaments like Europe, China, or Korea, TSM just don't need to pick him. It goes against their style. I really didn't understand this pick from TSM. Eventually, TSM rounds out their draft with Sion and Zac, and looking at their comp as a whole, it's a lot of tanks and not enough damage. And also, this team comp is so AD damage heavy. As for C9, they have a more of a well-balanced comp with a lot of dress. Aatrox, Camille, Cassio, Kai'Sa. Probably the only bad thing about their draft is not having enough tanks, but they have so many dress, they can definitely make this team comp work. Due to Varus and Kench having a lane advantage over Kai'Sa and Alistar, TSM's able to take first turret bot lane. They are also able to take Air Drake, but C9 is not just slouching. They are able to take Rift Herald in return. So we have our first team fight of the game. TSM's in Cloud9's jungle trying to get vision control. As they're exiting, they see an opportunity to go for Alistar and they engage the fight on him. They end up burning Varus ult, and Alistar just ults out, and Varus is forced to back off with Mitty eating him. Haunter comes in from the side with a great Sion ult, being able to open on Camille, but Camille's able to dodge Bjergsen's ultimate with a well-timed Hextech ultimatum. Due to TSM grouping up to try to kill Camille, Licorice actually finds a great angle to go in. He's right in the middle of TSM with his ultimate activated, and he's able to pick up a kill on Haunter and walk out with his ultimate revive. Grigney also dies, but he has his passive up, and he's able to survive by Bjergsen channeling ulti and flashing out. Overall, this teamfight results in a slight win for Cloud9. Next big thing that happens is TSM groups up to kill Licorice up in the top lane. They find him out of position and they're able to get a kill on him. But the entirety of the team bunched up top lane, all 5 members, and Cloud9's able to strike back by picking up a lot of farm in mid and bot lane and also able to get both turrets. Now here we can really begin to see why the teamfights are turning out this way. Let's go take a closer look. Both TSM and C9 are trying to contest this mid wave, but let's look at TSM's positioning here. They have both their tanks kind of off to the side with Grigney here and Haunter here, and Licorice has a really great angle for a flank on TSM. He's very close to Varus and he's about to open on him with TSM's tanks being so far away. Zeyzal starts channeling his Hextech Flash, looking for a good combo on TSM, and Licorice activates his ultimate and goes in on the clumped up trio of TSM. Blabber and Sneaky's able to jump right in with their mobility skills, and Haunter's ult is going god knows where. He just put himself completely out of the teamfight. With C9's frontline directly on top of TSM, they're forced to retreat, and C9's able to go pick off Haunter, who decided to ult into where? And with that teamfight victory, C9's just easily able to pick up Inferno Dragon. Now we have Bjergsen TPing in bottom to kill Licorice along with Haunter. And for some reason, Sneaky ports in here. Sneaky, you're an AD carry, you don't want to try to do this teleport. He ends up using ult and just getting out, and TSM's finally able to kill Licorice. Zeyzal comes in to try to save Licorice, but he ends up dying while burning his flash and ultimate. With 2 members of C9 down, TSM attempts a Baron, but their team comp is pretty low damage and it's only 23 minutes and 40 seconds into the game, so they don't have a lot of damage to instantly melt Baron. Licorice revives and he teleports into the fight with Zeyzal coming in with mobility boots. The Baron ends up being a 50-50, a smite off between the 2 junglers, and it's not even the jungler that gets the Baron. Bjergsen ends up taking it. After they kill Baron, TSM has 3 members stuck in the pit and 2 people outside the pit. They're completely split and they need to get out. Luckily for TSM, they're able to keep 4 members alive, and the only person that dies from that Baron is Haunter. Ooh, this Baron could have gone much worse for TSM. So with Baron, TSM actually gets in a great position to split push 2 lanes, mid and bottom, with Haunter being bottom and the 4 being mid. But for some reason, they see an Aatrox split pushing top and they all go to kill him. Licorice activates his ult and he runs away, and C9 is able to push out mid and bottom because of this. TSM is able to get the top inner turret though. I'm not sure if this was worth it, guys. Now, a little bit later into the game, you have Sneaky split pushing top lane with teleport almost coming up, and TSM group near bot lane contesting C9's inner turret. Sven starts the fight with a ultimate on Cassiopeia, and Grigney's about to go in. But Zeyzal's able to cancel Grigney's slingshot with a well-timed All-Star Q. Now, TSM should be just focused on getting out of here. But Haunter's teleporting in, and TSM's taking a full-on teamfight under C9's inner turret. Sneaky also begins channeling his teleport to join the fight. Jensa's ultimate only hits Sion in the brush, and the teamfight's pretty disengaged, but TSM's still in there, and Zeyzal goes in for a combo on Zben, who's really far up forward, but Mithi's able to eat Zben out of the combo and they kill Zeyzal. TSM still stays for this teamfight, believing they can win. C9 begins chasing TSM down, and Haunter is able to flash and burst Licorice, but rest of the TSM has to be on the run. Overall, that teamfight went 3 kills for C9 and only 2 kills for TSM, but it was such an unnecessary teamfight under C9's inner turret. Now, this late into the game, both teams are trying their best to control Baron much as possible, placing down pink wards, trying to take away enemies' vision. C9 opens the fight on Haunter, who's pretty separated from his team, but he's a Scion with Warmog. He's incredibly tanky. C9 smartly backs off, with Zben missing his ult, and this is the game breaker for TSM. Look how split they are. Zben and Mitty on this side, and Bjerg and Grigney on Haunter all the way over here. Mitty takes a different path from rest of the team, and he gets caught out by Licorice and rest of C9. C9 easily kills Mitty, and they collapse on rest of TSM. Once again, TSM splits up into two groups, with Zben and Grigney on this side, and Bjergsen far off. C9 is able to just go in on Zben, kill him, and with Zben down, rest of TSM is forced to run and they slowly get picked off. With 3 members dead, 32 minutes into the game, C9 is able to just march right on and finish TSM off. Bjerg and Grigney aren't enough to prevent 5 people up on C9 from taking their Nexus. And with that, TSM lose game 1. Alright, now let's go over draft for game 2. TSM opens with an Aatrox first pick. This is sort of a takeaway pick, especially with how well Licorice played on Aatrox last game, but I would so much rather see Haunter on a tank. He just did not seem very experienced or well knowledgeable about Aatrox after watching him play throughout this series. Also, TSM ends up taking Xayah Rakan. While I like Xayah for Zben, Mitty's just done so much better on champions like Kench and Braum and Shen. Rakan's a very squishy champion and I just don't think it was a great fit for Mitty. Overall though, I still like TSM's draft so much more from last game. They have Zben and Bjerg both on hyper carries and this is such a better draft from them. I just wish I saw Haunter and Mitty on a more of a traditional tank champion. As for C9, they went with a very dive-heavy comp with Galio, Nocturne, Hecarim, Kai'Sa, and Alistar. Coordination between players and going in at the same time and being committed to one target and one engage is going to be very, very important from them. In the early game, nothing too major happens. Both teams are able to take turrets, farm up, both take a dragon each, so we'll skip right over to 21 minutes into the game. Here you have TSM trying to group up to take this Ocean Dragon. Bjerg and Grigney are just finishing Ocean Dragon, and Mitty and Zben are both very far up in mid lane trying to contest the wave. C9 doesn't miss a beat and engages right on top of Zben and Mitty. Now, next thing that happens is Bjergsen trying to go and kill Blabber. C9 immediately engages, Bjergsen has to burn his Zhonya's and he still dies. Now, C9 is on the chase trying to kill TSM. Licorice teleports in and tries to chase down rest of TSM. Zben's able to live with a great Xayah ult and flash, and Mitty's the one that ends up dying. Now, this was super puzzling for me and I had no idea what's going on. Haunter activates his ultimate and goes in on C9 1v5. Grigney and Zben follow, but Jensen lands a flash taunt and Zeyzal follows up with a flash combo. Grigney and Zben dies and C9's able to get Baron. What were you thinking, Haunter? C9 resets and now they're trying to pressure 2 lanes with Baron. Blabber and Licorice try to engage on Grigney, but Trundle's a pretty tanky champion and they're not able to kill him and TSM's able to engage and burn Blabber's Guardian Angel. It's a team fight right in front of TSM's tier 1. Bjergsen's able to land a great ultimate on Jensen and they end up killing Blabber and Jensen. Now the second Baron of the game is up and both teams are jockeying for positions in mid lane. Blabber and Zeyzal open on TSM, but TSM's carries are able to use their defensive cooldowns and live. Zben goes back into the fight trying to kill Sneaky, but he steps too far forward and Jensen's able to land the flash taunt on him. Zben instantly gets bursted by the Galio, and TSM and C9 end up trading 1 for 1. 34 minutes into the game, both teams are trying to contest the Inferno Dragon that's coming up. With C9 already having an Inferno Dragon, a second one would really put them over the top. Luckily for TSM, Grigney's able to go in for a flash steal, and he ends up getting the Inferno. But once again, we see Haunter engaging a team fight after Grigney's stolen Inferno. Rest of TSM tries to help Haunter, but C9 has most of their engage tools up, and they're able to kill Bjergsen and Haunter. With 3 members dead on TSM, even with their jungler down, C9's able to attempt Baron. Mitty and Zben tries to go in and contest, but Licorice is able to land his charge on Zben and he dies without being able to use his ultimate. C9 ends up taking the Baron pretty cleanly. With that Baron, C9 is able to get multiple turrets and the inhibitor top lane. They get a little greedy trying to stay for this mid turret, and Haunter is able to start the fight on the Alistar. C9 tries to engage on TSM's backline, but Zben's able to dodge Licorice with his ultimate, and TSM's backline is able to melt the entirety of C9. Now, this Elder Dragon is going to be make or break for both teams. TSM has 3 dragons and C9 has 2 dragons, so whoever gets this is going to be incredibly powerful. With both teams once again jockeying for positioning in mid lane, Sneaky goes off and starts the Elder Dragon on his own. Licorice and Zazel are able to buy time for rest of C9 to burst down Elder Drake, and once again you have TSM incredibly split in this team fight. You have Haunter and Grigney over here trying to chase after Blabber, with Mithy engaging on C9, with Zben and Bjerg getting flanked by Licorice. The team fight is all over the place for TSM. The Wombo combo of Hecarim and Galio are able to force Bjergsen to Zhonya's, and right after coming out of his Zhonya's, he gets insta-melted by Jensen. With Bjergsen dead, rest of TSM is forced to retreat, and C9 picks up the stragglers along the way. And with that, C9 goes up 2-0 on TSM. With TSM down 0-2 and on the brink of elimination, it was incredibly sad to see them go for Rakan, Aatrox, and Urgot again. It's not that these champions are bad, it's Hunter and Mithy have traditionally performed way better on tanks, and Bjergsen on a heavy carry or assassin. It was just really confusing to see TSM stray away from something that's already been working well for them into these weird meta picks that they feel like they're forced to play. Anyways, let's go into the game. TSM lost top turret due to Hecarim and Talia pressuring Aatrox, and C9 was also able to pick up Rift Herald by winning a skirmish. C9 spots an opportunity to use Rift Herald mid, and they're able to take the turret. Grigney's off to the side trying to defend, but he gets caught by Alistar combo, and he melts pretty easily. Mithy lands a great engage on the squishies of C9, but rest of TSM is too split to really make this work. Check this out. Haunter's on this side with Zben and Mithy here. Bjergsen and Haunter go down towards river trying to chase down Sneaky and Zazel, while Mithy and Zben are on the right side getting zoned off. Jensen and Licorice are able to catch Zben, and Bjergsen gets sandwiched by rest of C9. One silver lining, Haunter's able to kill Kai'Sa, but this teamfight ends up being 3 kills for C9 for just 1 for TSM. Here we have TSM trying to set up a siege on top lane, and Bjergsen's caught rotating by Blabber and Jensen. Grigney, Zben, and Mithy are caught out trying to retreat, and Blabber walls them off with a Talia ult. Licorice has a great flank angle, and he's able to come in behind all 3 members of TSM. And with that, C9 ends up picking up Grigney and Mithy, but with a great snipe from Bjergsen, TSM get a kill in return on Licorice. C9 groups up to contest this blue from TSM. Blabber leaves the charge, and with him spotting out Grigney low HP, he flashes in, but he gets bursted down instantly. TSM chases down the fleeing C9, but Mithy gets bursted down, getting caught out by a Rise W, and C9 continue their chase. Zazel spots 3 members of TSM clumped up and he goes in for a combo, but Bjergsen's pretty tanky and Zben's pretty fed, and they're able to pick off rest of C9 chasing into them. Overall, this fight turns out to be a slight win for TSM, killing 3 members of C9 and only 2 members of TSM dying. 23 minutes and 40 seconds into the game, TSM has mid priority, and they go for the second Inferno. C9 realizes TSM's committing too hard for Inferno, and they use Rise ultimate and they go for Baron. Due to having a Kai'Sa and a very fed Rise on the team, C9 is able to get Baron pretty quickly. TSM get off Inferno, they're just walking back and forth. At the very least, they're able to get Inferno. While a second Inferno is great, giving up Baron wasn't the best thing. I really would have liked to have seen them only send a few people to Inferno while rest of the team maintains mid priority. C9 with their Baron buff go to contest the inner top turret of TSM, and Blabber's able to land a great Talia wall, being able to trap TSM outside of their base. Zeyzal's able to follow up with a W flash Q, knocking up 3 members of TSM, and Licorice is able to charge right into the heart of TSM's backline. And with Mithy dead and rest of TSM retreating, C9 is able to march right up and take top inhibitor and turret. C9 groups up trying to take the mid inhibitor from TSM, but TSM is able to put up a good defense, being able to kill Zeyzal and forcing off the push from C9. How this series ends is kinda poetic. Haunter's pushed up by himself trying to clear mid lane, and C9 collapses and is able to kill him. After that kill, it's a 4v5 30 minutes into the game, incredibly hard for TSM to contest Baron, and C9 is able to get Baron easy peasy. With that Baron buff, they march right up, take mid inhibitor, and now they can reset, have all that gold, and go in for the final push. TSM knows that they can't just watch C9 take all of their base, so they try to engage the fight, but at this point C9's 8k gold up with Baron buff, and it's just incredibly hard for TSM to win any kind of team fight. And there you have it, folks. TSM's legacy of never missing worlds is broken. So with that disappointing finish to the year, we have to ask the question, why did TSM break up such a successful roster? Why did they let go of Doublelift, Biofrost, and Spence Garen? Well, TSM has achieved domestic dominance for over 5 years with little to no success internationally. And to change that, they needed to change things up, and they went for a risky move that might further their dominance internationally. Unfortunately for them, it didn't work out, but that's what happens when you take risks. Sometimes it doesn't work out. I still think it was really admirable for TSM to try to change up something when they were so dominant, but maybe they should have thought a little bit further about how valuable Doublelift was. Overall, spirit of TSM still hasn't changed. They're gonna do everything in their power to be strong for 2019. So for all you Bay leavers out there, don't be too worried. I fully believe TSM is gonna be stronger in 2019, and trust me, I know TSM overall as an org better than you. I know Andy overall better than you, and he's gonna do whatever it takes to make sure TSM is strong. Also, by now, you guys are pretty curious why I still support TSM. My time on TSM, while successful, it didn't end too well, so I guess you guys kind of deserve an answer. First of all, it's actually for nostalgic reasons. I was actually one of the founding players of TSM, so it holds a very special place in my heart, and also my most successful time as a coach was on TSM. And reason number 2 is TSM still has a lot of my friends on the roster and the staff. Parth, Lustboy, Lena, they're very special people to me, and I want to see them do well. Also, Bjergsen's still on the roster. I know how hard Bjergsen works, and I really want Bjergsen to do well. Like, this isn't like any kind of like PR bullshit. Like, I genuinely care about those people, and I want to see them do well. Lastly, and probably the most important reason, is because of Andy. When I was starting out to be a pro player in Korea, most of you guys probably know my parents didn't really support me, and Andy actually paid me $1,000 so I could get a computer and stream for his team. He was also paying for my internet too. When I retired as a player, he asked me to coach for his team. So those two reasons might be mutually beneficial for both me and Andy. It's just him making moves to make his business grow. But something that really stood out to me was after the whole Golden Guardian situation when I was let go, Andy personally reached out to me to see how I was doing and see how he could help me. He already had a great coach in Song and Lustboy on his team. He wasn't trying to build a relationship with me again to try to get me back onto the team. He genuinely cared about my well-being and reached out with no strings attached. So Andy will always have my eternal gratitude, and by extension, I will always support TSM. And that's why I support TSM. I hope that was a good enough answer for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know a lot of people are critical about TSM and I wanted to do a video on it, so it's not all this like bullshit about TSM being bad for random ass reasons, but a more of an analytical and a professional approach to actually breaking down what happened to TSM over the year and what happened in the Gauntlet. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It helps so much, and you guys should support my content. I put so much work into it, and it's edited so well. Please support my content. One last thing though, I'm not crazy. I'm just Loco. Bye!